evaluation section that you have to do for this lab write-up. Basically what happened is this. You have designed your own experiment, you have done your own experiment. Now what you need to do is look at your experiment and how you've done it, as well as your data, and think, what are some flaws and limitations of the experiment? So I'm going to write down, I'm going to go over what I mean by flaws and what I mean by limitation. Okay? So flaws and limitations. Now when I'm talking about flaws, I'm talking about design flaw of the experiment. It's a systematic error which basically, even though you've done the lab perfectly, executed perfectly like a robot, you will still do something wrong because the design is wrong and it will affect the result. So how many of you remember, is it Samsung Note, is it Note 7 or Note 8 where the battery would catch on fire?
Note 7.
7? Yeah, so it was like the battery catch on fire. That's a horrible design flaw. It's not like you were plugging the thing in too hard. It's a design flaw. Something wrong with the design. Okay? So design flaw or flaws is systematic errors. Errors in your method design where it would negatively affect your results. Okay? So that's a design flaw, or that's a flaw of the experiment. Now, whereas limitation is this. Limitation is not a design flaw. Limitation is, well, you design your experiment to do this job, but not really the other stuff. So for example, one of the things is a dumb phone, like basically phones that you can't like download apps and stuff like that. Like I used to have a Nokia brick phone, which is awesome. The battery life is long, I drop it a few times, it doesn't die on me. Battery is great, but I can't exactly take pictures and upload on Instagram. Stuff like that. That's not meant to be a smartphone. Okay? So the phone design is great. It's doing what it's supposed to do, but it's not meant to do certain tasks. So that's a limitation. Okay? Limitation. The design of the lab or the methods is fine, but not elements. Okay? So I'm going to write down the example, Samsung Note 7, and this one is smartphones. Okay. Good so far? Any questions? So in this case, there's also one kind of error, which is what we call human error. Human error will be things like, yeah, I accidentally spilled this. I didn't really read this quite carefully, correct? I wasn't paying attention at this timer, so blah, blah, blah. My partner bumped into me and I spilled some stuff. Those are human errors. Do you have any questions on this so far? In your write-up, you never list human errors. And you also presume that the person doing the experiment, you are doing it perfectly. You know how to read a grad cylinder, you know how to use electronic balance, so forth, so on and so forth. Good? Now, so in this case, you need to think of what are some flaws and limitations of your lab design. Now, you also will be asked, or you also will need to provide improvements and improvements or extensions. Now, improvement goes with the flaws. So in this case, how do you fix your flaw or your design flaw? You do an improvement. Okay? Oh yeah, maybe I should do this, and this instead. When you list your improvement needs to be specific and realistic. So, like an experiment where maybe the water from the solution might dry off. Well, that's a design flaw. So how do you fix it? Maybe you put saran wrap over the beaker so water will not evaporate off. Something that you can do in this school, and you need to be specific. You can't just say, oh, I'll figure something out so that the water won't vaporize. So, improvement is to fix design flaws. Extensions are for limitations. So let's just say your experiment can only test for, it's not your experiment, but let's just say you design an experiment that will test for the pH of fruits, but it only goes up from range 2 to 7, the pH range. Well, maybe extension of it would be, in the future, I will do another experiment which can test for the pH level 7 to 9, something like that. That will allow you to expand what your experiment can do. Good so far? Yes?
So like an extension is something that you would implement in the future if you were to like redo the experiment. So you would add to it to expand on your findings? Or?
Yes. It's almost like expansion pack for game. Like if you play computer games, like, oh yeah, this is the vanilla version, and I can buy an expansion pack which allows me to have a lot more functions, stuff like that. Okay? Or like free version versus paid version of whatever it is. Good? So these things, flaws, limitation, improvement, extension, that will fall under the evaluation section, which is part of your lab assessment coming up next few lessons. If you have any questions, make sure you ask me. Of course, the lab format guide that I provide you with, you can read over it and hopefully don't need more. Okay?